Hello! Today I wanted to talk a little bit about flying and the fear of flying. As we are all travelers, we fly a lot. I'm guessing that you fly a lot, I fly a lot. I have found that as I've gotten older, I've actually become very afraid of flying. And so my New Year's resolution this year was to stop being afraid of flying. And for me, that meant learning the science of really how flying works. I found out that 40% of the general population is afraid of flying, with 2.5% of them having a deathly fear, a clinical fear of being afraid of flying and really not being able to do it. I still do it because the means justify the ends, right? But it's hard for me. So I've been learning, and I'm going to take you through the top 5 types of turbulence, because for me, this is the #1 fear of mine, and to show you really why it's not that scary and why it's a very natural thing. All right, so #1, this one is called mechanical turbulence. And this one to me sounds the scariest, but actually it has nothing to do with the mechanics of the plane. What it has to do with is the terrain, basically below where you are flying. So let's look at, say you have mountains, right? You're flying over a mountain range, or even if it's a little bit lower than this, not as many peaks. And you're flying, say here, this is your little airplane. Can I draw an airplane? No, I can't draw an airplane. I think I'm not gonna do that again. So basically, you have air that is coming up and down over these mountains, and eventually it's gonna do this, right? So it's moving you up and down. There's really nothing that's going to make the plane do something wrong, and especially because you have a very trained pilot, right? It's going to be okay, but this is why this happens. I've been on flights where it was a beautiful, perfect day, but we were flying over the Rockies, and there is nothing you can do, right? The pilots cannot do anything because there's all this turbulence because you have mountain ranges below you. So that's, after I learned that, that's the first thing that I checked was, are there mountains below us? Is this maybe why this is causing this? So this one, #1, mechanical turbulence. Okay, #2, and this one, I find this one probably the hardest one to really understand. This one's called thermal turbulence. What happens here is you have the Earth down here, right? And the Earth is giving up warm air. And so you have clouds right here. These are clouds. I promise those are clouds. Clouds. I'm not an artist, I promise. So basically what's happening is you have cold air coming this way. So if you're flying above the clouds, you are absolutely going to be safe. Obviously you're always safe. However, you're probably going to have a smooth ride. However, if you're below here, you're kind of competing with the cold air and the hot air coming here. So it's probably going to be a little bit bumpy. I have heard that a lot of pilots really try to avoid flying below rain clouds or through rain clouds for this reason, just because this hot air that is being given off by the Earth, basically, it competes with this cloud. So that's #2. And again, you're really not in very much danger, but it may cause some turbulence there. Okay, so #3 is called frontal turbulence. And again, I am not a meteorologist and I am not a pilot. However, I'm trying to understand this stuff to really understand when I feel fear, how to kind of quell it. So the third one, frontal turbulence, is going to be because you have a cold front. So you have a burst of cold air coming this way, right? And then you have warm air this way. So right in this area, you're going to have some unsettled air. And so as you're flying through that, it's going to be pretty quick, depending on how fast it's moving versus how fast you're moving, obviously. But you're going to hit this point right here, and it's really not, it could be very bumpy based on that. But again, based on the airplane's mechanics and all that, there's really not much danger to you, but that is something that you will probably have to deal with at some point. So the fourth type of turbulence is called wind shear, and the last two actually had to do with different temperatures. This one, as far as I understand it, does not have to do with temperatures. This one actually has to do with wind direction. So basically what the wind shear is this area right here. When you have changes in wind direction, so say the wind's going this way and the wind's going this way, you're going to have a bunch of issues right here. And so if you're either flying in this or you're flying through this, you're going to have a problem. I think, don't quote me on this, but I think it's actually better to go against the wind than it is to be in this area. I don't know if you've ever been on a flight where they're like, we're going to go up 5,000 feet or 2,000 feet or whatever to try to get out of this. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to avoid that little pocket of area that is having that turbulence at that moment. All right, so the fifth type of turbulence I want to talk about today is called clear air turbulence. And it really is exactly what it sounds like. It only happens on clear days, no clouds outside. And so it comes as a surprise to many, many people because you think, wow, this sky is blue and great and we're not going to have any issues. But basically what clear air turbulence is you have the earth right here and then you have basically an inversion right here. And it only happens over 15,000 feet. So you have your inversion coming this way, and this is where the pocket of disturbance is. So this is going to be cold and this is going to be warm. As you're flying through this is where you're going to have an issue, is right here, right as you fly through this little pocket here of issues. So it's very similar to the one we talked about earlier, but this one is only for clear days and it's only above 15,000 feet. So I really hope that helped you. I know that was just one piece of how flying works, but turbulence to me is the most scary part. Obviously geese, but geese are just something I avoid in my normal life because they're geese. And then also just the mechanics of an airplane. And maybe I'll go through the mechanics of an airplane. I haven't actually learned about that yet. And I've really been focusing on the turbulence part, and it really, really has helped me while I'm flying. Alcohol sometimes helps as well, but it's not a cure-all, I promise you. So learning about turbulence has really helped me, so I really hope it helped you. If you have any more questions or anything else you'd like to learn about flying or any other kind of travel, because I'm really interested in it and I love learning, just let me know in the comments below. Also, don't forget to subscribe below as well and hit that little bell as well.